It's the year of the hay, and that God was going to do things in surprising and unexpected ways. This is not business as usual. Shalom. Listen, it's important to understand the times. We need to be like the sons of Issachar who understood the times and knew what to do. First, I want to look at the Gaza's prophetic connection to the new Hebrew year that we are currently in at the moment. As you all know, you've heard me share, this is the year of the hay on the Hebrew calendar, 5785, and of course, 2025. So the connection between the Hebrew and the Gregorian calendar is the number 5, which in Hebrew, we know that numbers are written with letters, and the Hebrew letter that represents the number 5 is the letter Hey, and Hey can mean to behold, or it can mean something unexpected, like a surprise. It's like when you jump out and you go, hey, right? And the person jumps and they are scared. It's the year of the hay, and that God was going to do things in surprising and unexpected ways. This is not business as usual. God is not going to open the door the normal way you enter in, but this is the year of the hay, which is also the window. And so God is going to be opening up windows, and we're going to be going through windows, not just doors. God was going to be doing things in ways that they had never been done. And what I could say is that that certainly is true this week, when the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, met with President Donald Trump, and President Donald Trump announced his plans, his thoughts on Gaza, which is that basically that Gaza had been destroyed, that the Gazans need to leave, that there'll never be peace, that it's too dangerous, that the Palestinians in Gaza needs to leave, it needs to be rebuilt, and that America would take charge of it and be responsible for overseeing the Gaza Strip. I got to tell you, I didn't see that coming. I don't know anyone who saw that coming. And I think even Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, was shocked himself. It was definitely a hey moment of offering an unexpected solution to relocate 2 million or so Gazans to other countries. Now, irregardless of what you think about this, whether it's actually possible or not, it was certainly something that symbolizes the Hebrew hay in the year that we're in. And what struck me is that, could it possibly connect to a messianic prophecy found in the Navi, the prophet Zephaniah? Zephaniah gives this prophecy in the 2nd chapter of the book of Zephaniah, and it's a prophecy concerning the Philistines. Now, the reason why that's significant is that when you hear the term Palestinian, it might not mean something important to you, which is in Hebrew, the word Palestinian is the word for Philistine in the Bible. So the Arab people in the land took the name Palestinians. They didn't historically use that name. In fact, the Jews who returned to the land were called Jewish Palestinians or Israeli Palestinians. But at some point, we won't get into all the details, the Arabs in the land, the Arab people in the land, took the name Palestinians, but what they're saying is Philistines. They were trying to make a historical connection to the land going back to ancient times, which I actually don't believe they have in that regard, but that is a whole nother discussion. But it's no coincidence that they chose to identify as Philistines, the Hebrew word for Palestinian. And this is what we read in Zephaniah 2. It says, "For Gaza will be abandoned. Ki aza azuva. Ki aza azuva. So there's actually a word play going on there. We'll look at in a second. And for Gaza will be abandoned. Zephaniah 2:4. It sounds exactly like what President Trump is saying. He is saying that the Palestinians need to leave so that they can have a better life, or else they're going to stay stuck in this cycle of destruction and suffering and poverty and under the control of Hamas, which is a terrorist organization, which it's not really working for the benefit of their people. They're working for the benefit of themselves. So it says Gaza will be abandoned, and Ashkelon, which was part of ancient Philistine area land, will be a wasteland. Ashdod will be driven out at noon, and Ekron will be uprooted. So Gaza will be abandoned, wasteland, driven out, uprooted. If this doesn't sound like the suggestion that was made this week that has caused shockwaves in the Arab world, in the liberal media, I don't know what does. And then it goes on to say this. Canaan, land of the Philistines. He says, I will destroy you and none will be left. The land by the sea will become pastures, having wells for shepherds and and pens for flocks. The land will belong to the remnant of the people of Judah, and they will find pasture, for the Lord their God will care for them and he will restore their fortunes. Wow. I mean, that's basically what Trump is saying, that this should go back to Israel, the Jewish people, as the rightful owners with American involvement. So I think this is significant. I think this prophecy in Zephaniah had a historical fulfillment, but listen, everything the rabbis tell us is written for the sake of the Messiah. It's there because it still means something and has relevance for us today. This is a latter, fuller fulfillment of that prophecy. But I like the numbers, and numbers are important. When I learned this, as I was studying this out today, I'll be honest with you, it blew my mind. We live in a mathematical universe. God is into the numbers. The phrase Aza Azuvah. Aza is the Hebrew for Gaza. So technically Gaza in Hebrew is Aza, and you see the wordplay. Aza, Gaza, Azuvah. You can hear the wordplay going on there. Gaza is destroyed, has a numerical value of 172. Why is that significant? That's from Zephaniah 2:4, the opening words. Because 172 is also the numerical value of the Hebrew word for Akev. And Akev is the Hebrew word that means heel. So why is that important? Think about it for a moment. The head is the top of the body, which makes the foot, literally head in Hebrew is rosh, which means like the start or the head. And the bottom of the foot, the heel, is akev. It's literally the bottom end of the body. Why does this matter? The period directly before the coming of the Messiah is known as the Ikvesa de Mashiach, literally the heels of the Messiah or the footsteps of the Messiah. We're living so close to the Messiah's coming, in an age so close to the Messiah coming. It's like when you're in your bedroom and you can hear the footsteps of your parents coming down the hall. So the period immediately preceding the Messiah's coming is known as the heels of the Messiah. The numerical value of Gaza will be destroyed is the same numerical value as the Hebrew word for heel, which alludes to the times that we are living in. Gaza's destruction is a sign that we have entered into, that we have been living into the heels of the time known as the heels of the Messiah, the footsteps of the Messiah. His coming is imminent. It's close. It's also interesting that every generation is associated with a different part of the body in Jewish thought. The generation that precedes the coming of the Messiah is known as the Akev, the generation of the heel. So we're close, okay? We are close. And what's interesting is that the heel is directly connected to a messianic prophecy that we read about in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. It says this, right? That the serpent will bruise the heel of the Messiah. I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. He will bruise you on the head, meaning the Messiah will bruise the serpent on the head, but you, the serpent, will be crushed by the heel, right? So we see the connection. So the Messiah is going to crush the head of the serpent, but the serpent is only going to be able to hurt the heel of the promised seed, which is the Messiah. So the serpent will bruise the Messiah on the heel and cause great pain, but will not be able to permanently kill and destroy. When Yeshua was on the cross, in a sense, he was bruised on the heel, but he rose on the third day. But what's true of the Messiah as the ultimate fulfillment of the seed is true of the people of God. There's a eternal battle between the seed of the woman, the godly seed, and the seed of the serpent, which is the wicked seed that follow, whether knowingly or unknowingly, in the ways of the accuser, Hasatan, Satan. And Satan is always trying to destroy Israel. He's always trying to destroy the church. And October 7th was a horrible bruise on the heel of Israel. The goal of Hamas and the desire of the enemy was to crush the head of Israel. Not just bruise it, but to crush it. Hamas thought, listen, we'll attack, then Lebanon will attack, and Syria will attack, and Iran will attack, and the Houthis will attack, and who knows? And when the other Arab nations see Israel is being defeated and can't win, who knows who else will join in? Maybe Turkey, who else? And they thought they were literally going to crush the head of Israel. And Hamas is the seed of the serpent in Gaza. We talked about this in the past. Gaza is the place where the Nephilim spirit in the land of Israel was never deposed. But they weren't able to crush the head. They were only able to bruise the heel. So by the grace of God, Israel literally crushed the head of Hamas.